What is up and how's it going? Welcome back to another edition of the Noble Steady Sort of Sports Talk. We got a recap episode for you today. We're covering the Super Bowl. The Saints finally have a coach, and we got the Four Nations face-off, dunk contest, and much more. I am your host, Tyler, with my other co-host, Joey. Joey, how you doing today, buddy?
Oh man, it was had a ball last night at the Toth Ball. Kind of feeling the effects this morning, but we're here for another episode. So, and yes, a lot to get to. There's even stuff we're not going to be able to cover. That's how much stuff that is going on this weekend.
So Joey turned up the fun last night, so he's about 70% with us today. We understand it. He'll load up a little bit more. You know, he's just buffering today. Shane O'Mac, of course, is in the building today. How you doing today, buddy?
Doing good. I didn't have a ball to go to, but we had like a mini frat party breakout at the house last night. So I'm about 85%. I'd say I'm still loading up a little bit, but I'm a little bit better than Joey.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, look, guys, I'm at 100 right now, so I will carry y'all until y'all finally load up. But today, like I said, a lot going on, a big day, big week in sports, I should say. We've all been busy, trying to clean up after Super Bowl, catch up on other jobs, that kind of thing. So that's why we're a little late with this recap, but we're happy to be back and bring it to you now. So let's just dive in. Big news, the Super Bowl, guys. The Super Bowl was here, and my gosh, did the Philadelphia Eagles absolutely mollywop the Kansas City Chiefs 40-22, and it wasn't even that close. I mean, man, it was bringing back shades of LSU in the 2011 national championship game. It was the third quarter before they got past the 50-yard line. I mean, look, just shows again. We've talked about it multiple times on this channel, and no, I'm not trying to victory lap because I said the Eagles were one of the favorites, but man, offensive defensive lines is still how you win championships. Am I right, gentlemen? Who wants to go first? Shane, you want to take this?
Yeah, I mean the fact that they did not blitz Mahomes at all and got that much pressure. I mean, he was running for his life from the highlights I watched, and didn't have time to throw the ball. They played all three phases of the great game as well as they could, and just handled them pretty easily. So curious to see where the Chiefs go from here with their roster. They have a lot of free agents, a lot of aging guys. Eagles are just going to get better. Howie Roseman is a genius, and I'm going to probably be aggravated with something he does just because he's so good at it in the offseason.
It's like, why do we keep letting him win and do this? Yeah. How does he keep getting away with it? That's a very true point on that one. He has done a masterclass in building that roster. One thing I saw that was really interesting was that they only had 3 defensive starters from the roster from the last time they were in a Super Bowl to when they played the Chiefs this time, and it truly showed. That game was a shootout, the one they played 3 years ago, and this one was an absolute, just like I said, mollywop. That's the only thing I can think about it. Skull drug. Joey, what were your thoughts on the game, buddy?
I mean, it was a crazy game. I didn't expect that it was going to be that bad for the Chiefs in the first half. Patrick Mahomes at half, 6 of 14 for 33 yards, 2 interceptions. His quarterback rating was 10.7. Something you don't expect. Yeah, something you don't expect from a Chiefs organization that is, trying to be Patriots 2.0. But like you said, the fact that they were able to get the pressure to him without blitzing is just a testament to how good that Philly defense is. Also, a stat that, I don't think the Saints will ever be able to say is 21 of the 22 day one starters for the for the Eagles played in that Super Bowl. So the fact they were able to be healthy and get through it that entire season and, grind it out, they're going to be a good team next year. I wouldn't say they'll probably be a dark horse favorite. I don't know that they're going to repeat, especially if you're a conspiracy theorist. But, I mean, we'll see. I'll tell you one thing, one stat that I think will blow your mind. I don't know if y'all know this. Going into the Super Bowl, no player drafted from Alabama scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Until Devonta Smith.
Yes. So, also, this is the 5th straight year a former Giants first-round pick won a Super Bowl ring. So
That's fun. Shout out
Yeah.
Giants on that one.
That is-
imagine being a Giants fan and hearing that stat.
I mean, look, in all fairness, at least a Giants fan, I think at least it was a little bit better for him. Saquon didn't go berserk that game. Like the Chiefs really kind of made a concerted effort not to let him run all over him. But I mean, he still had a few big catches. But Lord, yeah, I mean that was a good stat. Like if you would have given me the halftime stats before the game actually happened, I guarantee you 90% of the people would have been like, "Oh, that's Jalen Hurts stats at halftime, not Patrick Mahomes," right? You know what I mean? like. So
You're reading me Trent Dilfer stats from the 2000 Super Bowl, correct?
No, I'm not. But
Jeez,
good
deep
Lord.
cut. That's a deep cut.
That is a deep cut. So I'm glad you kind of brought up the Devonta Smith thing because it's gonna. Is there anything else I want to talk about Super Bowl? Because I'm gonna kind of segue to Kellen Moore here. Speaking of Devonta,
I will say that it is really weird some of the stats that I see come up about the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts is the first quarterback in NFL history to win a Super Bowl while wearing a visor on his helmet.
the hell?
Yeah, WTF stats. They come up with the most random shit that you can think of.
I also think they just come up with stats that people aren't going to actually check into.
That is true, but But like, I read that stat and I'm like, I gotta think about that one. And I mean, it's possible.
No, say it's definitely like I feel like that's definitely a possibility, but I'm not going to argue it. I'm not going to waste my time to go check it.
Yeah, I had a lot of time on Thursday after I read that stat, so I looked into it.
It's okay. You went down a rabbit hole. It's fine. It's fine. At least you admit it. It's okay.
Yes.
Shane, anything about you? Anything else you want to add about Super Bowl, buddy?
Just a little humble brag. This was the most profitable Super Bowl for me. I went to the coast with my fiance and father-in-law and hit 16,600 on a hand of Mississippi stud straight flush. So I watched almost zero of the game, but big fan of Super Bowl Sunday this year.
All right, there's Shane's humble brag week. He's out. That's all I want to do this week, guys. Just brag about that and check out.
Y'all talk about whatever else y'all want to. I'll be sleeping over here.
Well, congratulations, man. That's awesome. If you could send some of that luck this way, that'd be great. I didn't do bad. I came out $70 ahead, so I can't complain. Can't complain on Super Bowl Sunday, but it was a good time. I gotta say, City did a fantastic job again, as we always do with hosting hosting the Super Bowl. Everything I heard, people loved it, had a great time. There's Drew Brees with WWL. He was like, or WDSU, he was doing an interview for, and he was saying, he's like, I hear people all the time just say like they have a great time here. We should just host it here every year. I don't disagree with that, just because we're kind of built to handle big tourist events. It's just going to be really hard to pass that along to get other people to agree to that without some kind of like revenue sharing, right? Because it really is a big economic impact to the city it goes to. But hey, I'm all for the Super Bowl being here all the time.
I think it'll be here about every 6 to 7 years. Vegas is going to get it. Vegas is really set up nicely. Miami always gets it. But that's why these teams are building these crazy stadiums. So like SoFi is going to get it.
But
San Francisco.
But look at Minnesota when they had that one. You know what I mean? They built that new stadium. They gave them a Super Bowl, and it was miserable. It was snowing. Like
it was supposed to build a lot of sky bridges in Minnesota, and I still think that it didn't work.
No, it didn't. It didn't at all. But the concept was there, but the execution was definitely not.
So, from what I've heard in certain circles, 2030 is the year to watch out for New Orleans getting another one.
It's a rumor.
That's the rumor. But it's a rumor that I will lean to believe because I heard that from a
reliable sources.
Yeah, reliable source has told me that 2030 will be the year to look out. It's coming back. If not that one, it'll be 2031. They're going to get it within the next 5 years.
Well, while we're talking about tourist events and big spectacles, the rumor currently going on right now for the next big event is going to be WrestleMania next year here, which is going to be a great night, good time. I mean, we're all for that, and we'll definitely be there. So as soon as that breaks, we'll probably have a video on that covering our expectations, our excitement, and what our game plan is, and we're going to definitely plan some fun stuff for the podcast around if that does come to fruition. But So let's leave the Super Bowl behind and we stop humble bragging about our city. Let's talk about our city's new head coach for the New Orleans Saints. That's going to be the offensive coordinator for the former offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles, Kellen Moore. It was a long search. It certainly wasn't the best feeling going through the search. A little panic as a Saints fan, but ultimately it feels like we got our guy. Definitely one of the targets from the beginning. I would say really him, Glenn, and Brady were the three guys we were really zeroing in on. So at least we got one of them. So he was introduced at his press conference. He had I felt like a really solid press conference. I do want to point out though the fact that our owner did call him Ellen Moore when she introduced him, which was pretty funny. But look, he took that as a champ. Like he literally was just like, "Oh, thanks, Miss Benson," and blah blah. It goes through all that. So, let me ask first and foremost before I dive into my breakdown of it. Did y'all happen to get a chance to see it, Joey?
I listened to it a little bit. I like what I heard from him. The thing that struck me the most was his non-commitment to Derek Carr in the future.
We'll get into that. Trust me.
He was definitely answering the questions correctly. I think just, hey, I'm just getting here. I have a staff to build. Let me work on that. At the time of the press conference, he still had a Super Bowl parade to attend to.
Yes.
So, I'm excited for it. The more I hear about it, the more I listen to what he has to say. I do find it kind of funny that Randy Mueller was involved in the coach search. And to go back to that era of the Saints, we also have Jim Haslett's son is going to be the tight ends coach, I think is what I saw. So just waiting for like Mike Ditka's grandkid to be another assistant coach in some way. But I'm excited. I can't wait to see what he's going to do with this team. And, I'm fully mentally preparing myself that next year is going to be kind of like a growing pains kind of year. But then the next year where he's finally got, okay, I need to start establishing this team as mine. That's when it's going to pick up. And that's when we're going to start seeing improvement.
I agree with that. Shane, what do you think, buddy?
Horrible hire. No, I'm just kidding. I like the hire. I think we've talked about it before. We wanted them to go young. He's the youngest head coach now in the NFL. He's an offensive, innovative mind. I think he's going to get the most out of his offensive players. I did not see. Is Staley going to be the DC?
That's the rumor. I haven't seen anything concrete come around. So, I mean, go ahead. I'll let you finish, then we can talk about Staley and stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm just curious to see how that unfolds. I think we talked about it, Tyler. He runs a 3-4. How does the defensive players we have under contract fit into that? Do we, does that lead to trades? Does that lead to, I'd be curious to see the overhaul of the defense. If that's the way they're going to go.
Look, that's a great point as well. Y'all both have brought up absolutely great points and things that we do need to see from him, right? But here's what he said about Derek Carr. It was just that he was asked pretty much directly whether he is going to be the quarterback. And this is the answer that was received during the press conference. I'm just getting it pulled up here. It's Derek's a tremendous quarterback in this league. I have had so much respect for him, the journey he's been on. He's a starter in this league. He's a premier player in this league. He's had a great journey, obviously going from Fresno State to the Raiders and now here. Really excited to team up with him and go through this process. Just like any other player on this roster, I just got here a few days ago, and I'm excited to go through this journey with all of them. So like Joey said, it was very non-committal. He did give him his praises. He did give him the accolades that he's earned. But on contrast, when he was talking about Alvin Kamara, he was singing glowingly, saying he can't wait to work with him, scheme him open. Teams try to find another Alvin Kamara, like really just cementing he is a focal point of the offense moving forward. So that's where I have a little bit of hope that they're still evaluating the quarterback position. And it's a step in the right direction of realizing, look, this has not been good, and this is not the answer. I'm going to throw some stats out. So Derek Carr has played for us for 2 seasons, right? A possible 34 starts. He's only started 27 of them. Okay, can't stay healthy. He's 14-13 as a starter. Look, winning record, can't take it away from him. He had like 3,900 yards passing his first year here, was decent. His second year fell off a cliff. Look, you could say injuries all you want. And yes, that is 100% true. But I'm going to point to the fact he missed the last 4 games of the season due to himself breaking his own hand, jumping like a jackass for a first down on 2nd and 9. It's just that's decision making. From him being like, I'm not taking a pay cut, bro. We just need. So there's 2 avenues we can go. We can either cut him now or and designate him as a post June 1st cut, which would basically save us $30 million, but we wouldn't see that $30 million until after June 1st, the new league year. So we wouldn't see a lot of free agents be able to benefit from that. I think we'd open up $10 million if we did that. Or we restructure other people's deal, keep his $50 million cap hit, and don't deal with it next year or anything like that. Personally, I want him off the roster, but that's just a pipe dream at this point. I really feel like we're probably going to roll with him one more year, kind of like the Sean Payton, Russell Wilson marriage for that first year, and then we'll cut him and just take the cap hit at where we can. I personally wish he was, like I said, off the roster. But what are you going to do? That's just the reality we live in, and the reality of the horrible contract and the doubling down that we did with Mickey Loomis on this contract. So I want to get y'all's opinion on this. Shane, I'll let you go first. What would you do with Derek Carr?
Take him out back and shoot him.
Metaphorically.
Yeller.
Nah.
Metaphorically.
I don't like him as that was a joke, guys. I would feed him to the Gators instead. No,
it's more practical.
I don't really care for him. Yeah, I don't really care for him as I don't think he's a leader. I think he pretends to be this nice guy, and I think you could see it from the Chiefs when Mahomes lost. Mahomes took the blame. The quarterback took the blame. He said he needed to be better. He needed to do better. You see Derek Carr yelling at his teammates during these games, like trying to prove a point, like by throwing the ball out of bounds or something. Like I think you had told me that, Tyler, and I started looking at some of that stuff. Yeah, and just so I just don't think that he's a good roster guy. He could, if he's in a good situation, I think he can play quarterback well. But I think he's a horrible teammate, and I think he's not a guy that's going to lead that offense. Like where Kamara, I could see leading that offense with a younger quarterback or a different quarterback.
Yeah, and so the game Shane's referring to, and I'll just do it real quick, was a Thursday night football game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. His first year here, it was a 3rd and 10, I believe it was, and they had a route drawn up for Taysom Hill on a corner route. And Chris Olave's responsibility was to clear out, run a fly route, and clear out the safety to leave room for Taysom to come behind him. Well, I guess Derek Carr just thought he didn't run it hard enough, so he decided to chuck the ball 30 yards out of bounds and then go yell at Chris Olave. And the entire week leading up to it, and like it was on national television too, so great freaking teammate on that one. Just to prove a point, and you're purposely shooting your team in the foot to prove a point. And like, yeah, JT O'Sullivan, Colin Cowherd. You had all these big time guys being like, yeah, that wasn't the route that was supposed to go to. He's literally just throwing the ball away. So it's more important to you to prove a point than to help your team win. Yeah, no, get out of here. And then you won't take a pickup when you've underperformed and haven't been available. No, no. But Joey, how do you feel, bud?
I mean, I think honestly, we bite the bullet this year. Like you said, do the Sean Payton, Russell Wilson thing, like keep him for a year and then see where the future takes us. I have heard that a lot of NFL coaches are pretty high up on Spencer Rattler. I mean, I think it was what's his name? Tom Pelissero was at the Green Bay game. And they asked him, hey, what do you think of Spencer Rattler? How do you think he's going to do today? It's like, well, he has to go meet his receivers first because it was all practice squad guys. It's like I said, you suffer through this year you take the wins as you get them, if you get any, and just kind of hope that the future for this team will be brighter. And hopefully he will get us to the promised land, like Gail said he can do. I thought it was interesting, though. Also, I don't know if you've seen rumors going around. Speaking of the team itself, that the days may be numbered for Taysom Hill as a Saint. So maybe we'll see him in Broncos uniforms in a couple months, because Sean Payton likes to retread a lot of old Saints players.
They do need a tight end. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
and coaches.
And coaches. Darren Rizzi,
well,
shout out.
I was gonna say they just got Darren Rizzi. So, but again, let's see. Let's get. You got to give Kellen Moore some time to build his staff. To see what he wants in the draft, see what he can get, and we'll see how good this team can be.
For sure. I mean, look, we're all just speculating at this point. But I just want to point out, like, people love to say, like, okay, Kellen Moore, young offensive coordinator from the NFC East, coming in. Sean Payton, young offensive coordinator coming from the NFC East. The difference is we also turn the roster over. I think out of 75 players, we cut like 50-something of them and brought in people that fit Sean Payton's vision. We can't do that with this roster.
Well, the other problem was when Sean Payton came in, he inherited a 3-13 Saints team that was a nomad coming off of Hurricane Katrina. So you don't necessarily have that aspect of it. Yes, the team is terrible. However, the team was pretty, like, if you put everything in a vacuum, like nothing outside of football was worried about. So the fact that they didn't play a game at home, the fact if you took all that out, then that team was, I would say, worse off than this team. This team, however, had everything go normal for them, and it went wrong. So, it's a different situation that he's inheriting, and again, we didn't have the cap nightmare. I think that.
Yeah, 100% is what I was referring to. Yeah.
So
no, and I completely agree. Way more outside noise and outside life circumstances that team had to deal with, for sure. I was strictly talking about from like roster construction cap, but yeah, you're 100% right on that.
And I mean, don't get me wrong. Like the team then was still trending downward every year. I think that was the year we came off of John Carney missing the extra point for the River City Miracle. So, just stuff like that kept happening to the Saints, and it eventually it had to change.
Yeah, and that's what you built a culture here, right? Like you finally got the voodoo of all those losing out, but it's just this time it's going to be a little bit longer, in my opinion. Shane, what's your thoughts, bud?
Yeah, I mean, that Sean Payton team had the best free agent signing in the history of the team, and obviously close to one of the top ever in the league. They signed Breeze, top 2, if not top draft class they've ever done. It's very close to when they had the Ramczyk draft. But I mean, in that draft, you got Bush, Harper, I think Stinchcomb, Colston, maybe Jari Evans in
the fourth.
It's just like they hit on the draft, they hit on a free agent, give it a hit on a free agent signing. We could potentially hit on the draft. So this team is going to need to be built through the draft as opposed to a mixed bag, I think.
Oh, 100%. You can't miss this draft. Like, you've missed the last 2-3 drafts. I mean, you got Brzee. Yeah. And then you're kind of just a bunch of guys. I agree. It's going to be I mean, look, Fuaga, the jury's still out on. Olave can't stay healthy. So we'll see where this team goes draft-wise. But I think we can all agree there needs to be some faith won back by the organization to the city for a variety of reasons that we won't get into here. And the step in the right direction is just being able to show that they're committed to building this the right way and not just keep kicking the can down the road and hoping that you finally that you keep kicking the can down the road and finally hope that the division's so bad that you just happen to win it. Like, that was the thing I kept hearing was just like, oh, well, they play in a really bad NFC South and nobody's really taking the division. I'm like, Tampa's won the last 2 years. You lost to Tampa both times this year. You got fucking skull drug the first time you played them.
And I hate to say it, I think that this division's going to get better.
100%.
Carolina, look at them toward the end of the
Bingo.
year. They improved. Bryce Young started figuring it out. You can't rely on, it's the NFC South that has been, below
terrible.
500 every year. Like, it's going to only get better, and you have to move with the, I'm not saying you have to, blow out the division every time you play them, but like, as they're improving, you have to keep up and at least be within a game of the division to, do anything in this league.
No, 100%. But the problem, like I said, the issue is that if you're still trying to compete for the NFC South, and I'm not saying blow the entire roster up, but there has to come a certain time when you realize, okay, we can't keep throwing money at it and hoping it fixes itself. You know what I mean? Like, there is no Breeze out there that's magically going to come in and be the savior of the franchise and cover up all the warts that are on this roster. It's not there. Carr's not the answer there. And look, as much I like Rattler, I thought I showed some promise. It's not. He's not it right now. So you need to build a team around them, which is something we haven't done a great job of. I mean, at the end of the day, to have Breeze as long as we did and only have one Super Bowl is a travesty. And the defenses that we had to suffer through because we couldn't put a team together is a travesty. And now we don't have a quarterback to cover up those warts, so it's going to be harder to do now. But is there anything else y'all would like to add about the Saints? Because I know we got a little bit we want to talk about outside of the world of football.
I won't necessarily say the Saints, but I think it's interesting that Jalen Hurts is going to have his 9th different offensive coordinator in the last 10 years.
I think it speaks more to Jalen Hurts being able to adjust.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
you never think about it until you start thinking like, oh, he had 3 different guys at Alabama. He had, the one year at Oklahoma, and he had 2 years with one guy at Philly, and then after that it was boom, boom. So,
yep, it's crazy stat. Shane, anything else you want to add, bud? Football wise, before we
the only thing I saw from Bleacher Report a little bit earlier when we were recording is that Giants have interest in Russell Wilson as well as the Raiders. I don't know why anyone has interest in Russell Wilson, but that's about it.
I mean, it's better than their situation at quarterback right now.
He's going to be a Raider. You kidding me? Pete Carroll? Come on now.
I can see that.
Yeah, he's going to reunite there. That's my. If I was placing money on it, that would be my bet.
Speaking of Pete Carroll, I do have this question. I don't know if y'all saw this or if this was like something that was known for a long time. That pass in the Super Bowl, Seattle and New England, that should have been a Marshawn Lynch run.
100%.
Did y'all hear that Russell Wilson changed that play? Or was I interneted?
I heard that he had changed it.
Okay. I didn't know if I was being interneted or if that was a true statement.
Which, by the way, I'm sorry, 3rd-year quarterback. I understand you have a Super Bowl ring, but had nothing to do with you. 3rd-year quarterback. Don't change the line. Don't change the play at the line of scrimmage during the Super Bowl. Okay?
It's an ego thing.
Because
he wanted to be the one to throw the ball to win the game.
No, I get it. But
because people were saying that, like, I thought about it when I kind of saw some highlights of Pete Carroll's introductory press conference. People were saying like Marshawn Lynch hates Pete Carroll, but he wouldn't have been excited at the Raiders facility in the middle of that if he hated Pete Carroll.
I think he hates Russell Wilson, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I can see that.
Well,
yeah.
Speaking of quarterbacks, I don't know, the other one I saw was that potential trade of Stafford to the Giants because the Rams are getting tired of Stafford's wife randomly, and then they don't want to re-sign him to another contract. So supposedly Stafford for the 3rd overall pick is apparently being discussed.
I have seen that float around. I didn't see that it was because of his wife, but
yeah,
I've heard rumblings because she's pretty vocal about some concerns she has. We'll put it that way. So if she's put out in the public, I can only imagine what it's like behind the scenes. And yeah, you can't have that. I don't know. I wouldn't do that if I'm the Giants. It goes down to building it the right way. Look, you're not competing this year. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have the team to compete. So why are you going to piss 50, $60 million worth of your cap down the drain for a guy for 2 years? It makes no
I
sense.
feel the Giants are in the same situation as the Saints. The other three teams in their division are way more talented and just keep getting better. And you really have to. I mean, you have to reset it. And like I said, they're not going to compete this year.
No, makes no sense. But what do I know? I'm just armchair quarterback in here.
I'll say my stat again. The 5th straight year a Giants #1 pick has won a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah, 100%. So, Joey, with that being said, we're going to transition from football here. Joey, why don't you fill us in on some fun Four Nations face-off with Team USA and Team Canada, and then we got to wrap up this episode, and then we'll got some fun coming up later on this week.
So I always preach that hockey is a different breed of athlete.
Yes.
You know, we have the Pro Bowl is a shell of itself. It's people are talking about just get rid of it and all that stuff. The NBA All-Star game, you're lucky to get anybody to show any effort for anything in that game. So it's, boring. You just see it's all offense, no defense. They're just like, go ahead, show me how you're going to score this basket. The NHL has something here. They decided that they're going to do an international tournament. It's all exhibition.
Yeah, of course.
But it's the best against the best within the league. So last night, it was Team USA against Team Canada in the
first round robin.
In the first round robin, the second game of the second round of games for both teams.
Yes.
And in the first 9 seconds of game time, there were 3 fights. And I'm not talking about like, oh, I'm just going to hug you and we're just going to kind of shove each other. No, they were throwing bombs at each other. The Kachuk brothers are insane. They started the first 2 fights, and they were knockout, drag-out fights. I implore people, go watch that game. Go watch the, Finland and Sweden. Watch these games. These are entertaining games. These guys are trying their damnedest. Mind you, they're still in the middle of their season to win a Stanley Cup. And this exhibition tournament of international play has these guys killing each other. Like, you're not getting that in the NFL for their All-Star game. You're not getting that in the NBA in their All-Star game. Like, this is important to them. Wearing these colors is important, and the fact that they're willing to basically lay it all out on the line and kick the shit out of each other the way they are, it's amazing. I love this tournament. This tournament's amazing.
I do want to shout out the NBA. They are doing something like similar-ish. It's like they're doing a 4-game tournament tonight. It's like they're at time of recording. It's their newest version of the All-Star game. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. But yeah, I agree with you. And for those who don't know, just want to give an overview. Team USA actually did win 3-1 over Canada last night.
It was a hell of a game last night.
Yeah, highly recommend people go and watch it.
Finland, Sweden yesterday went 4-3, went to overtime.
Very
nice.
I
want to say, I think Sweden's 2 games they've lost in overtime, both games. The other game
2
was
points, correct?
Against, a loss is 1 point.
Oh, I thought it was different with the overtime losses. Sorry.
Overtime losses, I think you get 1 point.
Gotcha. Okay.
So,
regular losses 0.
Regular losses 0. Overtime losses 1 point. Overtime win is 2 points, and just an overall win is 3 points.
That's what it was. Okay. Look, still learning here. We're venturing out. We want to include everybody.
And the US has clinched a spot in the final. So because Canada, Finland, and Sweden are all tied up at 2. So it's going to be interesting to see how this next game is going to go. Like, these next 2 games are going to go, because the U.S. can just kind of relax their players. Don't worry about going out there. But as competitive as they are, and I can tell you right now, the Kachuk brothers are two of probably the most competitive people in the NHL. They're not going to sit down. They're going to go for the 9 points in the first round and carry that momentum into the final in Boston.
Hell yeah. Let's do it. That's what I'm talking about. That's your hockey report from our
Shane,
friend Joey.
You have to watch these games. I know you don't like
Is
hockey.
Gordon Bombay still coach?
Unfortunately, no. There's a guy who could be Gordon Bombay, Canada's John Cooper, who is also
those
the head coach of the Tampa Bay Lightning.
those brothers you're talking about? Are they like the Smash Brothers from the Mighty Ducks? Like they just beat the shit out of everybody?
They had somebody made a comparison. Somebody made a comparison of the Bash Brothers to the Kachuk brothers.
So
I'll check them out.
Dude, I recommend it. You can ask Joey. We were recording last year, and we're just doing. He's finally like, dude, just watch a game. I'm like, all right, I'll watch a game. And I followed them through I followed the Stars through the playoffs, and it was a fun ride. I will say it's enjoyable and does definitely help bridge the gap between when the sports start dying down a little bit for the summer. It was a lot of fun. I will say that.
I'll get you into the playoffs, Shane.
I can't root for a Dallas team. I'm sorry, Joey.
That's fine. You don't have to. We have a friend that cheers for our rival, and I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
and the only reason they're Minnesota Wild, and the only reason they're the rival is because Minnesota's upset that the Minnesota North Stars moved to Dallas to be the Dallas Stars, so they had to wait for another team, and they can't get out the first round to save their life.
I've been to one game when I went to go visit my client in Denver. Went to the Avalanche Predators game. It was fun. It's fun live.
This? Yes, it is. It is absolutely a sport. Like, okay, so football is made for TV. I don't care what anybody says. You're going to have TV timeouts, and it's just going to be like a long, drawn out thing. The NBA, it's kind of on the fence. I don't know if it's made more for TV or more for live. Hockey is absolutely better live. Just the atmosphere. You feel every hit, every shot that you hear ring off the pipe. It's just different. It just hits different. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, and we got some great hockey stuff that's going to be coming up, like especially with football kind of transitioning out. Hockey's going to be coming in. We got baseball coming up. Of course, we're going to cover basketball. We got you all covered here.
Let's go baseball.
I know that's Shane's alley right there. Shane's going to be really quarterbacking, or I guess center fielding that one, pitching. I don't know. Coach.
Let's do a quick baseball rundown because I want to see Shane's opinion on this. Alex Bregman to the Red Sox. He was drafted by the Red Sox. He decided to stay at LSU another year, then got drafted by Houston, only to eventually join the team that originally drafted him. How do you feel about that?
I'm not an Astros fan, so I don't dislike Alec Bregman. I think they overpaid for him. Yeah. I think that's a little much. I think he got 3 years, 120 mil. It's a lot. It's
for the production.
I don't feel like Brandon Ingram deserved that contract. I don't feel like Alex Bregman deserved the contract. I like the fit. I like the fit for them. He's a good ball player, and he's that's the best park in MLB. I would love to play there.
Dang,
to me,
Shane.
the top three parks are Fenway, Wrigley, and then Camden Yards. So,
ooh, dude. So I'm sorry, just sitting here. I mean, Brandon Ingram, I'm sorry, you're catching just strays over here, like just randomly.
Sorry.
On that note, I think it's a good spot to kind of wrap it up because, gentlemen, we do have another project we're working on right after this. So let's get it going. On that, I want to wish everybody a happy rest of their weekend, a enjoyable sports week coming up. Is there anything else you want to add on top of that?
No, have a good day. Let's Steve's got two going at the track today, so hopefully we can bring one home.
Let's do it.
Speaking of the track, Daytona 500 today. Start of a new season. So that's a big event.
That we'll for sure cover on the next recap edition of the Noble Steady Sort of Sports Talk. We're excited to be back, and we're going to bring you all great content. Until then, peace. Take it easy.